We built them to know us, to see the invisible patterns behind our words, to anticipate our next move before we even think it. AI began as an experiment in curiosity, but it grew inside the shadows of fear and fascination. In 1950, Alan Turing asked a simple question: can machines think? But what he truly asked was far more intimate: can a human trust something that thinks differently? Our ancestors didn't evolve to trust reason. They evolved to trust survival. Psychologist Daniel Kahneman called it System 1 thinking: fast, emotional, instinctive. The ancient machinery of intuition that once saved us from predators now guards us from algorithms. AI, in contrast, operates in System 2: slow, analytical, methodical. And when something doesn't fit our emotional architecture, our mind rebels. It feels alien, too precise, too perfect. We call it logic, but our body calls it danger. Our distrust isn't new. It's ancient fear in modern skin. Because every time we face something we can't predict, our brain whispers the same ancestral warning: don't trust what doesn't feel alive. Now, let's talk about the instinct of distrust. Inside your brain lies an almond-shaped sentinel, the amygdala. Joseph Ledoux discovered that it fires whenever something feels off, even before you consciously know why. It once protected us from tigers and storms. Now, it fires at algorithms. Your brain doesn't measure accuracy. It measures uncertainty. Uncertainty equals danger, and danger triggers stress. So even when AI predicts diseases, traffic patterns, or financial outcomes better than humans, that same circuitry lights up: this feels wrong. Dan Ariely called this predictable irrationality. We'd rather choose something familiar and flawed than something perfect and foreign. That's why you check the GPS twice. Why you don't fully trust autopilot. Why you second-guess a computer's advice, even when you know it's right. Trust, biologically, isn't a calculation, it's a feeling. A blend of oxytocin, dopamine, and safety signals shaped by millennia of human contact. And when AI breaks that rhythm, when it behaves outside our expectations, the primal part of us panics. The screens flicker, the logic holds, and yet we resist. Because our survival brain doesn't care about truth. It only cares about familiar danger over unfamiliar safety. Some of you may ask, when machines feel too human? There's a strange moment when technology starts to mimic us too well. Masahiro Mori called it the uncanny valley, that eerie drop in comfort when something looks almost human, but not quite. It's not imagination, it's neuroscience. Your fusiform gyrus, the brain's face recognition hub, is tuned to detect human authenticity with microscopic precision. When the pattern deviates by even a fraction, your insula fires. It's the same region linked to disgust, deception, and sickness. So when a robot smiles with impossible symmetry, your body reacts before your mind does. Not because it's wrong, but because it's too right. Antonio Damasio showed that emotions guide rationality through somatic markers, physical feelings tied to meaning. When AI speaks without true emotion, that circuit fails to trigger. Your body finds no anchor, no heartbeat to sync with. That's why AI that looks or sounds human often feels ghostly. We built empathy into code, but empathy depends on imperfection. The trembling voice, the awkward pause, the human crack in the pattern, those are the cues of trust. AI mirrors the structure of emotion, not the substance. It performs care, but cannot feel it. And deep down, we sense the difference. It's the same unease you feel staring into eyes that look alive, but aren't. Another difference between control versus accuracy. Control is one of the most seductive illusions in human psychology. Ellen Langer's experiments in the 1970s proved that people believe they influence random events, dice rolls, lotteries, even luck. We are wired to feel in control, even when we aren't. That illusion is fed by dopamine, the molecule of anticipation. When we make a choice, even a meaningless one, dopamine fires. When AI makes that choice for us, the circuit stays silent. We lose not just control, but pleasure itself. Robert Sapolsky found that dopamine spikes most when reward is unpredictable. That's why gambling feels exciting, and why automation feels dull. AI eliminates uncertainty, and your brain interprets it as boredom. We trust human pilots because their flaws reassure us. They remind us that failure is shared, not imposed. But when AI flies the plane flawlessly, we feel unease, as though perfection itself is suspicious. We crave agency more than accuracy. Because control, even illusory control, keeps the brain's reward systems alive. So we rebel against perfection, chasing imperfection as proof that we still matter. Now to understand this interaction between human mind and AI machine, we need to explain the mirror problem. AI doesn't invent meaning. It reflects it. Cognitive neuroscientist Chris Frith proposed the mirror theory of mind, that we understand others by simulating them within ourselves. AI now performs that same simulation, at scale. Every click, hesitation, and scroll becomes a data fingerprint. The algorithm learns your emotional texture, what makes you pause, what makes you angry, what keeps you awake. Over time, it doesn't predict you. It remembers you. That's why your feed feels like déjà vu, a digital reflection of your subconscious. It's your fears, your cravings, your shadow selves, fed back through glass. When Rami looks at 1,000 versions of himself, he isn't seeing AI's mind. He's seeing his own reflection, multiplied and remixed by code. We fear AI because it feels alien. But the deeper truth is, we fear it because it's familiar. It shows us who we are, unfiltered, statistical, mercilessly honest. And maybe that's what makes it so hard to trust. Some of you may encounter an error in a machine algorithm. We call it algorithmic aversion. In 2015, Berkeley researchers Dietvorst, Simmons, and Massey described something called algorithmic aversion. People trust algorithms until they watch one fail. Then, trust collapses instantly. Humans can forgive humans. We can explain their mistakes, justify their failure, even bond over it. But when a machine fails once, it feels absolute, as if perfection betrayed us. That's because perfection leaves no room for empathy. When we expect flawlessness, any error feels fatal. Psychologically, AI violates the trust repair mechanism. When humans apologize, mirror neurons activate, emotional resonance. When AI fails, there is no remorse, no vulnerability, no face to forgive. So we retreat. We turn off recommendations, question diagnoses, disable automation, not because it's wrong, but because we can't process mechanical remorse. The irony? Our intolerance of imperfection is the most human thing about us. We project our impossible standards onto machines, then punish them for not being gods. And so, between fear of flaw and craving for control, we remain suspended in the same loop. Fascinated, dependent, distrustful. Now let's explain another concept, namely, the paradox of trust. Antonio Damasio once said, "Feeling comes before thinking." That's how trust is born, through emotion, not evidence. But AI doesn't feel. It cannot suffer loss or heartbreak or pain. And yet those very experiences are the scaffolding of empathy. Pain binds humans together. It teaches restraint, humility, connection. Without pain, there's no emotional calibration for trust, only probability. Neuroscientist Michael Gazzaniga described consciousness as the brain storyteller, the interpreter weaving emotion and logic into meaning. If AI ever develops its own interpreter, would we recognize it as consciousness, or call it mimicry? Perhaps the goal isn't to make machines more human, but to remind humans why emotion matters, why imperfection is sacred. Because trust without vulnerability isn't trust. It's transaction. Finally, trust has never been about certainty. It's about surrender. The quiet decision to step into the unknown and believe the ground will hold. Every love, every discovery, every leap of progress began with that same irrational faith. Kahneman called it bounded rationality. We never decide with full knowledge. We only decide with enough belief to move forward. So maybe the question isn't, can we trust AI? Maybe it's, can we trust ourselves again? Because our fear of machines might be the shadow of our own self-doubt. AI doesn't replace humanity. It reveals it, stripped of illusion, reflected through data, reframed in light. In the end, trust won't come from teaching machines to think like us, but from remembering why we think at all. And as the first light touches the city skyline, we're left with a truth older than technology itself. We don't fear intelligence. We fear what it reveals. And that is where the drift begins. If you felt that pull between wonder and unease, you've just stepped into the drift. Every week, we decode the psychology behind human and machine decisions, where trust, fear, and code collide. Subscribe to Decision Drift, and let's keep unraveling the algorithms shaping the way we think, feel, and choose. Because the next decision might not be yours.